Hi folks, it's been a minute. Yeah, the usual anxiety, depression, watching Netflix, working, yeah, that sort of fun stuff that prevents me from doing this sometimes. And this is actually a little bit delayed from when I would have wanted to record this and put it out. But, life and sometimes your own feelings get in the way. But anyway, regarding all of that, I'm very, very excited about the song that Disney Channel put out on their channel about a month ago. I absolutely love it. And I did discover it when it had been recently posted. So, like I said, this is later than I perhaps would have liked to discuss it. But that's what I'm here to do. And the reason I love that song so much is because it makes me feel valid. It's very relatable. And I feel like I'm just like proving my point right now. Just like, oh look, she has anxiety and she's having trouble speaking. Amazing. But what I'm trying to say is that's a mental health representation is one that is often overlooked because it's harder to see, it's harder to illustrate. It's often something that has to be confirmed by the writers themselves. It's not often that a character will outright say something like this. I don't think I've ever seen that. I've seen characters outright like come out as LGBTQ+, namely on Netflix mostly. But I don't know that I've ever seen a character outright say that they have some kind of more on the minor side of mental health issues. I mean, I'm not saying that. Listen, I have this one, so it's like I'm saying it's more minor because it's not particularly life-threatening, and you're not particularly at risk of harming those around you. There's one character I can think of from a TV show that got canceled a while ago. It was called The Gifted. It was about mutants, like the Marvel mutants. And one of the characters was bipolar, and that was like well established. But she also had ferrokinesis. She was one of Magneto's many retconned daughters. And she was a danger to those around her. So what I really appreciate is when a character does have some mental health obstacles and disorders perhaps, and that, it's well illustrated and well represented. I would say that all four of these characters do exhibit traits of someone who has an anxiety and or depression disorder. I actually watched select episodes of Big City Greens specifically for the purpose of discussing this for for the purpose of discussing this, because I didn't know anything about Gloria up until this point. And now I know that she's basically me, which is a little frightening. But yeah. So anyway, I just appreciate that this means that all 4 of these characters canonically have an anxiety disorder. Whatever kind of anxiety disorder they have, doesn't matter, but it's acknowledgement nonetheless. And it really does make sense for all 4 of them. So Candace from Phineas and Ferb, she has this need to tell on her brothers, and one of my favorite theories about that is that she's not doing it to get them in trouble. She's doing it because she's worried about their safety. And that to me makes a lot of sense. And it's frustrating to her that it all just disappears and that nobody believes her and thinks she's crazy. And that does sound rather anxiety inducing. I know I am not a fan of when people don't believe me. But yeah, I think she's just looking out for Phineas and Ferb. That's my thoughts on that. But you know, we have seen her anxiety manifest in other ways, like how she worries about her relationship with Jeremy a lot. Like, it's, you know, it's like, does he actually like me, sort of thing. And we all have those doubts, but I feel like she has them to a greater extent. And then next, let's talk about Marcy. So, what, honestly, there's a lot going on here as far as her, but and I would say that it's fair to assume that anxiety is not the only thing she's got going on up there in her brain. And I would say that, yeah, no, she definitely, I would say where we see it the most is towards the end of season 2. And where we see why, you know, the whole revelation that, oh yeah, she did this because she was terrified that she wouldn't have friends anymore. Honestly, mood, but maybe next time see a therapist. I mean, the story would have been way less interesting that way, but maybe next time see a therapist. Yeah. You know one now, so okay, that was dumb. Libby. So basically, I would say that anxiety is almost her entire character, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's also it's not that she doesn't have any depth. It's just that her anxiety is very obvious. A lot of what she does is like when she, like for the talent show, she didn't want to actually be in the talent show. She wanted to be involved. She wanted to help. She wanted to do like some of the stage stuff, and then she accidentally signed up for the talent show itself. And you know, we all saw how well that went. One thing that I think is kind of funny that I will nitpick about the anxiety song, as I call it, is that it was actually established in that episode, the talent show episode, that Libby can't sing. And now she suddenly can, and I'm a little confused by that, but you know, it's okay to retcon things for the sake of this beautiful, beautiful piece of media that, like I said, is just so freaking important. And Gloria, like I said, I watched select episodes of Big City Greens specifically for this discussion. She is, like I said, a lot like me. She's kind of a washout. She did move away from her parents, but that didn't get her very far. And she's now very broke, and she now lives with well, they're not complete strangers anymore, but they were definitely complete strangers originally, because she can't afford rent. Yeah, and she channels a lot through her art, which is something that I personally do. She is able to like actually draw, which I'm not, but she did say in the song that she does poetry, which I didn't actually see at any point in the series, but it could have been in an episode I didn't see. Regardless, me too. But yeah, no, she's just in that point where she feels like she's at a point where her future doesn't really exist, and that she has nothing to show for the time that she has spent in the workforce or whatever. Feeling like her degree is worthless. I feel all of that. Yeah, wow. Yeah. I think my favorite line from her is what was it? It was, I'm a single woman in my early 20s. The world is my oyster. And then she immediately goes home on social media and scrolls social media. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that if that doesn't sum it up, I don't know what does. And I think we all have this fear of growing up, but I feel like she has it pretty tough because, losing multiple jobs, not being able to pay rent, losing her inspiration, and just she goes through it. She's a lot braver than I am because she's actually tried to follow her dreams, kind of, sort of, possibly, but didn't work out so well. And then I don't know what it is with these characters in Big City Greens and doing things that are illegal, but yeah, no, she got to the point where she was willing to do stuff that was a little questionable, kind of like any of the other characters on this list, except maybe Libby. I don't think Libby ever did anything questionable, but the point is, these characters, they very clearly show signs of anxiety, and now it is confirmed that they have anxiety disorders, which is pretty cool. It's cool that they banded together in their little introverted coven. Or maybe they're not introverted. Maybe they just have social anxiety. I am an extrovert with social anxiety, so I would say, okay, I lost my train of thought, but what I'm really trying to say is it's kind, the song is a little cringy, but it's also fun. And I would say it's very important because it definitely paints this category of mental disorders in a light that's more relatable and easier to understand. And these are beloved characters as far as I can tell. People might love some of them a little too much, but we don't need to talk about that. But yeah, so these are characters that we know and love, especially Candace. She's a classic at this point. Because Phineas and Ferb started in, like, what, 2007? I don't remember. But yeah, so I'm just saying a bunch of freaking filler words because I have anxiety. But anyway, I feel like this video is just like half, like almost entirely just me freaking out trying to articulate words, although that's most of my videos in which I actually speak. So alrighty. I guess what I'm trying to say here, though, is that I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel like I'm valid, and I feel like it's going to be easier for people to understand me. And I don't know if one little silly song is going to do all that, but you know, it is going to create pathways for definitely whoever sees it to understand a little bit better what anxiety disorders are and how they affect people, and how these people can seem completely, you know, quote unquote normal. And, you know, you can't even, you just like, oh yeah, they're just kind of skittish. That's a thing, right? But anyway, before this goes, just I okay. So much like Gloria said, I am trying very hard not to overstay my welcome. So thank you for watching and for listening. If you're still here, if you're not, I don't blame you. Because this was kind of a clusterfuck. But if you are here, thank you, and have a wonderful day, and don't forget that I appreciate you.